Welcome to Up All Night DIY. I'm Monica. Thanks for joining me. So this is just a quick little video to show you how I designed the logo for the vintage Bunnie treats can from my vintage Easter assemblage video. Now, I'm not an expert. This is just how I do it. Also, this is not in any way sponsored by Silhouette. All opinions are my own. So, let's get into it. I'm in Silhouette Studio. The page defaults to 12 by 12, which is fine for today's purposes. So here we are. I'll click the Shapes drop-down menu on the left, and I'm going to choose the rectangle. Okay, so I drag my cursor to create the box, and let's make it a color so it's easier to see. Over on the right, I'll click the palette and choose a fill color. I always center my project on the page, so we'll center the box, and let's get closer here. I'll head up to the toolbar at the top where the box's dimensions are, and I click the lock icon to unlock it. This will allow me to set my dimensions to the same size as my can, which is 2.5 inches by 2.5 inches. There we go. Over on the left, I'll click the text tab, and I'll type my text and highlight it by holding Shift and the arrow key. I choose my font from the drop-down menu at the top. For this word, I'm using the font Crunchy Pasta, and I'll fill it in so you can see it better. I'll center it on my page. I'm going to go up top and click the ungroup so that my letters are now individual instead of a unit, and I'm going to enlarge the B. This will allow me to do that. I'm just going to drag it up and drag it in a little bit until I'm happy with the size. Okay, I think that looks good. Now I'm going to regroup the rest of the letters so that I can adjust them as a unit. I'm just going to do that the same way. The lines on the box, just adjusting until I'm satisfied. So I'll click the B and the other letters, and I'll regroup them all again, and I'll adjust them so that they fit into my box. Okay, I think that's good for the moment. Back over to the text tab. And this time, I'll type the word treats below the box. I'm doing this in all capital letters. Now here I forgot the S, but before I cut it, I did add the S. So I'm going to choose my font, which will be Atlantic Cruise, and we're going to fill it in so we can see it. Okay, back over to the Shapes tab, choosing the rectangle, and I'm going to draw a rectangle around the word treats. I'm going to move treats out of the way, just for a sec, while I choose a fill color for the rectangle. Now I need to move tree back, and I need to bring it to the front of the box so I can see it. So I'm going to choose that from up here. There we go. And center it. I want the words to be about the same size, so I'm just going to eyeball that and make my adjustments. So I'll group treats with the rectangle. I'm going to move it up to the box so that I can size it with the surface of the can, the dimensions of the can, and then I'll make more adjustments. I want this a little smaller, so I'm just going to pull it down a wee bit. Let's bring Bunnies down a wee bit too. Back over to the shapes, and I'll choose ellipse this time. And I'm just going to draw a small ellipse here, and we'll fill it in. I'll choose text again and type OK. I'm just typing OK to have something to put in the ellipse. And I highlight it and choose my font. This time we'll go with Allentown. There we go, and I'll fill it in white so we can see it. Okay, and I'm going to size it and place it in the ellipse and make any adjustments once it's in there, if necessary. And I'm going to group them together. We don't need the blue box anymore, so I'm going to move that out of the way. Now I'll position them on the page for cutting. They'll both be cut from Teal Vinyl. I did, by the way, I think I mentioned that I left the S off from treats, but I did place it in there before cutting. Anyway. Okay, now they're in position. So I'll cut the word bunnies from red vinyl, and I also want bunny shapes for the sides of the cans on red vinyl. So I'll open up a clip art file, double click the file, which opens it onto a separate page. And I'm just going to use these peep shapes here. Okay, so on the right side of the page, I'll choose the trace function, which is the wee butterfly. I click select trace area. I draw a box around the peep bunny to highlight it. Go down to the trace function down here and then move the clip art away. I right click on the peep and choose copy from the menu. Back to my design page, I'll hit Shift V to paste it onto my page. I want this to be a specific size, so back up at the dimension box and I'll type in 1 1/4 for width and 2 inches for height. I need 2 bunnies, so I'll right click and choose duplicate. Let me close this box first. And let's fill it with some color too so we can see it. Okay, now right click, duplicate. And I'll separate them. And now we'll move all my red items into place on my page where the red vinyl is going to be on my cutting mat. Now, I'm not cutting this yet, so I'm not hooked up to my silhouette, but I'll show you how to send it to cut. So I'll choose send from the toolbar up here, which opens this page. Where are we? Up here on the right, send, opens this page. Everything that will be cut is outlined in red over on the left. On the right is where I can choose my material. I'm using vinyl, which is already set. It defaults to auto for the blade. And if I was hooked up to my machine, it would say connected instead of awaiting connection. I would load my mat into the machine, then hit send at the bottom, and that's it. I love my Silhouette almost as much as my scroll saw. It makes creating so much easier. I think that the software is very user-friendly. I have the basic software. You can upgrade via subscription to get additional features, but this works for me as is. So I hope this quick overview on how I designed the assemblage can was helpful. Stay creative, my friends. Thanks for hanging with me. See you next time. Up all night with Monica.